At my birthday party, my husband whispered in Russian with his assistant Sasha.
Сегодня вечером я приготовил для тебя сюрприз.
Дорогая, сегодня день рождения, Клэр. Нам придется встреча в отеле позже.
The surrounding guests exchanged knowing grins. Tony shot them a hushing gesture.
Тише, ребята. Жена не должна узнать, иначе меня выгонят из дома.
Everyone agreed to keep the secret. Sitting right beside Tony, I was the butt of their unspoken joke. None suspected I'd been fluent in multiple languages since childhood. Nor did they know I'd found his hidden phone tucked inside a secret drawer compartment, filled with explicit, private videos of him and Sasha. I kept my silence and secretly contacted my remaining connections in Las Vegas to arrange a brand new identity for myself. To my new life. In 3 days, Claire Vega would vanish a trace would beyond his reach forever. Tony noticed I hadn't touched a bite of food. He leaned in, his warm breath brushing my ear, asking with apparent concern.
Why aren't you eating? Is the food not to your liking?
His eyes brimmed with feigned care, yet nausea churned in my stomach. I forced a thin smile, my unseen hand clenched tight at my side.
Nothing at all. I was just wondering what you were chatting about earlier.
A flicker of guilt crossed Tony's eyes before his expression smoothed over.
We were discussing dock shipments. We switched to Russian to spare you from grisly business details.
My disgust deepened. I pulled his arm off my waist, no longer willing to stay amid the noisy banquet. Carry on with your guests. I'm heading to the garden for some fresh air. I left without waiting for him to stop me. Servants and guests bowed as I passed, only to lower their voices once I was out of earlutch. That's Mrs. Gambano. Their wedding shook all of Europe. Every major mafia bland attended.
Her birthday parties are always lavish. They seem madly in love after all these years. I'm so envious.
Such compliments once filled me with joy, but now every word cut like a bade. I retreated to a quiet garden corner and breathed out heavily. My phone vibrated with a message from my contact. I fell into thought.
5 years ago, my entire family was murdered, and Tony saved me, becoming my sole refuge. Yet last month, I'd found a hidden phone tucked in his studio drawer full of intimate footage of him and
You're lively and fun. Nothing like that dull ball I keep at home.
I made up my mind and typed firmly, erase every trace of my existence here.
Once all records are wiped, Claire Vega will cease to exist entirely. What if Mr. Gambani loses control and launches a worldwide manhunt?
He won't look for me. He's long grown tired of me.
An indifferent gesture in the dark.
Understood. I'll get to work right away. Take care.
Leaving her alone in the cold neon night.
Who won't be searching for you?
A distant cousin got cheated on by her boyfriend. I was comforting her.
Don't trouble yourself over others, Claire. I'll be the perfect husband and never let you down.
Locked in Tony's tight embrace, Claire feels only a hollow detachment. Leaning against his sturdy chest, I listen to his familiar yet alien heartbeat. What if you betray me one day?
You're the only love of my life.
Just fixed gaze carries a physical weight.
You may punish me.
She remains entirely detached.
Never find your trace.
His words carry a chilling finality.
I cannot go on without you.
His toxic vow is whispered into the dark. A hollow smile tugged at my lips, never reaching my eyes. The punishment Tony deserved was already on its way. In 3 days, I would drag him down into ruin. It was Sasha, my personal assistant, and Tony's secret mistress.
Mr. Gambano, what you requested is ready.
Dressed in a server's uniform with a tray in hand, their subtle, unspoken rapport turned my stomach, and I subtly pulled away from him.
Close your eyes. Your birthday surprise is coming. 5, 4...
He lifted his hand after counting down. There were no fireworks or roses. Instead, his most trusted subordinate knelt on one knee, holding a Inside lay a silver Browning pistol studded with tiny diamonds glinting coldly under the lights. 5 years ago, he'd held me like this with warm milk, vowing to protect me forever.
I ordered no interruptions tonight.
His phone rang abruptly. Tony frowned in irritation, yet his body stiffened the second he saw the caller ID. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted no name, only a prominent heart symbol on the screen. Tony cleared his throat and turned off the screen, his fingers fidgeting secretly inside his pocket. He looked at me guiltily.
Sorry, Claire. I wanted to spend your birthday with you, but urgent family business calls me away.
Tired of his shuddy excuses, I cut in. Go ahead. Your work comes first. Relief washed over his face.
Where he would normally kiss me deeply before leaving, he only brushed a quick kiss on my forehead and strode off. I watched him vanish down the corridor before heading straight for the estate's surveillance room. I pulled up footage of the underground garage at once. His car had never left the grounds, parked hidden away. I sank into the cold chair, my chest constricted with agonizing pain. Reminding myself only 3 more days remained until freedom, I retired to the bedroom alone. Late that night, the bedroom door creaks open and woke me. Tony climbed into bed, reeking of alcohol and cold air, relaxing when he spotted me.
Why did you turn in early? I searched everywhere for you and nearly tore the villa apart.
He shed his coat and pulled me tightly into his arms.
Never vanish without a word again. If you run off, I'll scour the entire world to hunt you down and keep you locked by my side forever. I was wrong yesterday. Don't be mad at me.
Inside was a gold coin engraved with the Gambino crest, an heirloom passed down to each clan matriarch. I'd once carved my name onto it, which I scraped clean the day I found his infidelity. It would be my final gift to him. I'm not upset. It's a return gift. Open it in 2 days.
Why wait 2 days? Is there a special meaning?
It only carries meaning if opened then.
I'll keep my word.
Just then, Sasha walked in with coffee. As she set the mug down, her sleeve slipped, revealing a watch I'd gifted Tony for his birthday the previous year. Tony's face darkened with panic and rage.
Unexpected family affairs have come up. I need to sort them out.
Claire walks to the balcony, looking down with cold indifference. Tony grips Sarah's shoulders in a fit of rage.
Are you insane? Why wear that watch? If Claire finds out, I'll erase you for good.
With a violent push, Tony watches the pathetic display from her high Vance point, untouched.
I had no choice. I'm diagnosed with end-stage leukemia. The doctor says I have less than 3 months left to live. Tony, I just want to stay by your side before I die. I'm terrified of death.
When was the diagnosis? Don't cry. I'll hire the world's best doctors and spare no expense to cure you.
Treatment won't help. I don't want any therapy. I only ask you to stay with me for my remaining days.
I'll stay and grant whatever you want. Claire, I have to go abroad for urgent family matters and won't be back soon. Take good care of yourself.
All right. Staring at the calendar, I suspected this might be our final meeting. See? All I need is a fake illness to make him give everything up. I'm pregnant with hydroids, I tell him.
Rizzo's mistreated you once, so I wiped out their whole clan as your first gift.
Tony's proposed to me. We're getting married at Sacred Heart Chapel on the outskirts. I'm his true love.
Let's get out of here.
Meanwhile, inside Sacred Heart Chapel, the wedding march echoed softly. Draped in a custom white wedding gown, Sasha linked arms with Tony and strode toward the altar, triumph blazing across her features.
After long scheming, she had finally succeeded in ousting the lawful wife and taking her place.
The priest stood at the altar with Bible in hand about to recite the marriage vows, when the huge central screen abruptly cut the wedding feed for an emergency news bulletin.
Breaking news. A woman jumped off the Cross Sea Bridge 10 minutes ago. Preliminary checks on her belongings confirm the victim is Claire Verga, wife of Gambiono heir Tony. Rescue teams have rushed to the scene, and her condition remains unknown.
The announcement hung in the air, plunging the entire chapel into dead silence. All color drained from Tony's face. The engagement ring slipped from his grasp and clattered across the marble floor.
It's a hoax! That bitch Claire's just playing tricks!
Sasha let out a string scream, refusing to accept her shattered dream. She lunged for Tony, only to be roughly shoved sprawling onto the floor in a humiliating heap.
No, Claire, this can't be true.
The next instant, Tony ignored every wedding gasp and bolted out of the church in a frenzy. The lavish, costly wedding became a laughingstock among the city's underworld. Sasha collapsed amid scattered flower petals, screaming and wailing hysterically. Meanwhile, aboard a private jet cruising thousands of meters above the clouds, I leaned back against my seat and tapped my tablet to watch the chaotic wedding unfold live. I switched off the screen, my heart utterly calm. On the day Tony married another woman, Claire Vega had drowned in the river for good. A brand new life awaited me. Back on land, he descended into 7 days of blind madness. He mobilized all resources to seal off the entire coastal stretch, dispatching hundreds of search vessels to comb the waters around the clock. Major media fixated on the aristocratic tragedy, splashing dramatic headlines praising the mafia's heartbreak over his lost love. Every line of those articles reeked of hypocrisy to me. Had his love been genuine, he would not have fooled around with his mistress on my birthday or sparked a bloody clan war for Sasha's sake. It was never anything but hollow pretense. But for 7 straight days, he never left the shore. His once tall, robust frame wasted away rapidly, turning hangried and gone, barely distinguishable from a madman.
Boss, take care of yourself. The family needs you. If we can't find Claire, all of you will die with her! The man was gone. She's still alive. Claire hates the cold. She would never stay down there in the freezing sea all by herself. She's just throwing a tantrum, waiting for me to go get her!
And now I have settled in Zurich, becoming a rising business queen, and snatched a huge arms deal from Tony's hands. Tony was forced to retreat back to the empty villa. Everything was the same as before, except for the woman who used to wait for him to come home. He locked himself in the bedroom for 3 days and nights, without eating or drinking.
When he saw the coin with the name completely scrape off, his whole body trembled violently. I under being the wedding it back to dip what did it have you.
All the clues came together, and Tony suddenly understood everything. All our intimate photos with Sasha were gone, replaced by our precious memories from the past 5 years. The kiss, the quiet, the embrace on the Sicilian coast. The carefree laughter on city streets late at night. Tony, you destroyed everything we had in the past. The truth was finally revealed. I had seen through all the secrets from the very beginning. I never committed suicide. I simply left him completely.
How could you leave me, Claire?
This truth hurt him more than learning of my death ever could. I once asked him what the punishment would be if he betrayed me. He swore to accept being abandoned, promising he would never find me no matter where I fled.
She's still alive. Gather everyone in the family right now. Scour the globe until you find her.
His vow came true. I fulfilled my promise.
Since they enjoy using fake illness to manipulate others, I'll play along with their little game. Curtis, send this fake medical record to Tony and spread the rumor that I'm terminally enlailed. Tony's investigators worked with remarkable efficiency, uncovering the entire truth in just one day. The leukemia documents were forged by Sasha's former doctor, and the child she carried wasn't Tony's. It was all an elaborate deception. Before long, battered and exhausted Sasha was dragged from the long-term confinement basement.
Tony, save me! They've all gone mad!
Her face was gone, her body weak, yet she still clung to the hope that Tony would save her.
Whose child is it?
It's yours. Absolutely yours.
You dare lie? You think I eliminated the Rizzo family for you? I was just tired of being blackmailed.
Tony struck her skin hard with a whip, sneering coldly.
Love me? You're not worth a single hair on Claire's head.
Seeing his cruelty clearly, she broke down sobbing, professing her love.
I'm keeping you alive so you can watch me bring Claire back. Spend my life with her while you rot forever in filth.
Tony looked at her with undisguised contempt.
News just came from Switzerland. The madam is terminally ill. This torture was more and more cruel.
Than any execution. He had just stepped out of the basement when a subordinate came running to report. Catherine's terminal illness struck his mind with violent shock. He kept trying to convince himself this was just another of Claire's tricks to avoid him.
Prepare the private jet. Everyone departs for Zurich, Switzerland immediately. I must see her condition with my own eyes.
They set off through the night. After landing in Zurich, Tony and his large entourage rushed straight to the private hospital mentioned in the intelligence, only to find the hospital room empty.
The video was meticulously fabricated by Hollywood makeup artists. In it, I wore loose patient clothes, pale and haggard, stumbling into a car supported by Curtis. Then the vehicle drove toward an unknown destination.
Tony was replaying the surveillance footage, watching his weak and sick lover, his heart filled with regret and fear.
Block all ports, airports, and border crossings in Europe. Hire the world's top doctors at any cost. Search every inch of Europe to find her.
Tony would never dream that I have settled in Italy, right in the territory of the Gambino family. The most dangerous place is the safest safe house. I go by the name Elizabeth, an art investor from the East, setting my sights on old Godfather Moretti. My goal is to seize his secret cross-border transport line, a lifeline that would completely paralyze Tony's business.
It's an honor to meet you, Don Moretti.
Have we met before, beautiful lady?
The old Godfather Mores's face changed dramatically. This gun was the symbol of the Gambino family's supreme.
A new partner who can bring you immense wealth. The reign of the Gamboni family is about to end.
The shock in his eyes faded, replaced by a flash of greed. Through my alliance with Moresti, I systematically dismantled 30% of Gambino's European market share. Next, destroy the foundation of Gambino's legitimate enterprises. Using Elizabeth's identity, I mobilized third-party capital to secretly acquire massive amount of the corporation's stock. I instructed Curtis to disseminate the narrative that Tony had lost his sanity after his wife's death, including authentic footage of his destructive rampage through the villa.
Mr. Gamborna, can you address the concerns about your mental stability since your wife's death?
Claire is alive. I know she's out there.
Do you have any evidence to support these claims?
As Tony drowned in crisis, I delivered the final blow, anonymously submitting ironclad evidence, exposing Gambino's tax evasion and money laundering operations.
The regulators moved immediately. All their assets are frozen. He's trapped with no resources.
This is only the beginning. I will strip him of everything he possesses.
Days later, news about Sasha reached me. She had a miscarriage, tried to sell internal information on the streets, and was captured by Gambino's men, locked in a mental institution for life. With these trivial matters resolved, it was time for the key player, Frank Gambino, the former Don who retired a decade ago. Securing Frank was crucial to completely crush Tony. I sent my mother's old photo under Elizabeth's name. That life debt was my bargaining chip. The next day, the invitation arrived as expected. I went alone to his Sicilian countryside villa.
You look exactly like your mother. Did you collapse the entire Gambone Empire just to draw me out?
It's good to see you, Don Frank. Looking at my familiar face, his gaze filled with sorrow and pity. I skipped the pleasantries and went straight to the point.
For the sake of the life debt my mother owed you, strip Tony of his inheritance, remove all his power.
Your brother Joseph was the mastermind behind the Verga family massacre 5 years ago. Tony knew everything but covered up the crime to protect the Gambino reputation. He saved me and married me not out of love. He just wanted to monitor the only survivor and cover up the crime. The truth fell like a giant rock. The garden plunged into deathly silence. Frank's face turned pale. He collapsed onto the stone bench, shaking his head in disbelief.
This cannot be.
This truth hurt me more than his betrayal. The man I once loved deeply was actually an accomplice in killing my entire family. No one can truly understand my pain, but those painful days are long past.
This contains Joseph's confession, recorded in his own voice.
What do you want?
After listening to the recording, the old godfather seemed to have aged instantly.
Convene a family meeting to reveal the truth, revoke Tony's inheritance rights, and hand Joseph over to me for disposal.
I will keep my promise to repay your mother for saving my life.
3 days later, the Gamboni family's highest assembly convened as scheduled. Frank and Tony convened as scheduled.
The truth about the massacre 5 years ago.
He never imagined the entire meeting was convened to judge him. Frank revealed the truth about the massacre 5 years ago.
From this moment, Tony is stripped of all titles and inheritance rights, permanently expelled from the Gambono family. The culprit Joseph is handed over to Miss Vega.
I'm sorry, please forgive me.
There can never be forgiveness between us. Only blood debt.
I stood up and walked to the restrained Joseph, raising the Browning pistol. After being completely expelled from the family, Tony lost all the halo of zeal and became a commoner without a pence. Frank rewarded control of the group and transferred 30 pies the scores to me free of homage, as compensation for the victimid Vega family, making me the company's largest shareholder. I rebuilt the family's foundation and became a renowned queen of the business world, thinking our paths would never cross again. Half a year later, one evening after work, I was riding in a car on a remote road in the suburbs of Rome when a group of armed My bodyguards rushed out to fight the attackers, but one thug smashed the car window and reached in, attempting to kidnap me.
Claire, I only ask to be able to watch you from afar.
He stopped behind my bodyguard's defense line, not daring to approach, his eyes greedily staring at me. Without your pastoring, my life has never been better. The words pierced his heart like a sharp blade.
I know my sins are heavy, unworthy of forgiveness. I just want to stay by your side, as your driver, bodyguard, or handyman. It's enough just to watch you safe from afar.
His plea was humble to the extreme.
What qualifications do you have? After 5 full years of deception and sheltering the murderer who slaughtered my entire family? I let out a cold, emotionless laugh.
He had no response, could only repeat useless apologies. I was tired of this conversation and turned to return to the car.
Really, Tony?
Your apology is worthless.
To stop me, Tony broke through the body.
Claire, please give me another chance. I will use every day of my remaining life, use everything I have to love you.
Warm tears fell on Neck. The once arrogant mafia boss was crying.
Claire.
The warmth that once comforted me now felt like a prison. Some wounds run too deep for tears to heal. You don't deserve it, Tony.
I felt no shred of mercy and slapped him hard with all my strength. As we were locked in the stalemate, a lavish Rolls-Royce pulled smoothly to the curb and its door swung open. Carlo, the current head of the Moretti family and my business partner as well as suitor, stepped out. His features darkened at the sight of Tony clinging on to me.
Let go of her at once, sir. This lady is my fiancée.
That can't be true, Claire. Tell me it's a lie!
The word fiancé struck Tony like thunder. He stared at me in disbelief. Layla was my new legal identity.
She goes by Layla now, and our official engagement ceremony is set for next month.
It's only been 6 months apart. How could you get engaged so quickly?
Tony stared blankly at my calm face, the last spark of hope dying in his eyes. His voice shook.
Correct yourself, Mr. Gambano. We ended everything the moment you chose to lie and betray me. Those 5 years by your side were nothing but a one-man play you put on alone.
Tony staggered uneasily, barely able to keep on his foot. Every warm memory from the past turned into a sharp blade piercing his heart.
Carlo suggested we take our leave, and I agreed before sliding into the Rolls-Roycer beside him. As the car pulled away slowly, I glanced back through the rearview mirror. The ceremony proceeded smoothly. Carlo slipped a custom-made diamond ring gently onto my finger, his eyes brimming with sincere affection. Having endured betrayal, the annihilation of my family, and a long journey of revenge, I was finally ready to lay down all my pain and embrace a brand new life. Just as the priest prepared to recite the wedding vows, the church organ, yet hauntingly beautiful melody to play, its rich organ suddenly struck up an unexpected tune. The piece Tony had played for me countless times in years gone by. I jerked my head up toward the second-floor balcony. It stood empty, sunlight spilling through stained glass windows to scatter flecks of light across the floor like shattered teardrops. Could it have been Tony? A flicker of doubt crossed my mind, yet faded fast. Whether it was him or not no longer mattered to me. After our wedding under my new name Lila, Carlo and I ran the multinational group, formed from a merger between Moretti and the former Gamboni enterprises. Blessed with forward-thinking business insight and in-depth knowledge of underworld commerce, we expanded into emerging overseas markets one after another. In merely half a year, corporate revenue hit an all-time high, lifting the firm into the top tier of Europe's cross-country trading conglomerates. Carlo oversaw underground offline operations while I managed capital development for the listed corporation. In our spare time, we traveled across Europe side by side, living a tranquil, peaceful life that gradually soothed the deep wounds of my past. Then one day, Curtis sent me news of Tony.
His alleged suicide by drowning was nothing but a false rumor he put out to mislead others. In truth, he's been living in seclusion at a nearby coastal fishing village.
Learning the truth, I sent no one to chase Tony away, nor did I go to meet him. All old grudges had long been settled, and a reunion would only disrupt my peaceful life. I told Curtis to keep tabs on him and send regular updates only. Carlo noticed my fleeting change of mood, but never purred into the past. Quietly, he posted security men around the fishing village to stop the impoverished Tony from intruding on our peace, respecting my wish to cut all ties. Exactly 1 year after my wedding, Sasha secured her release from the psychiatric ward, using her last scripts of savings to rob officials. Penniless and without a single ally, she grew desperate. After tracking down news of my wealth and marriage into the powerful Moretti clan, she traveled straight to our Roman estate to beg for money and forgiveness.
Do you wish to receive her?
I trusted her and gave her a respectable position as my assistant. Yet greed drove her to betray me.
Leave her be. She's reaping exactly what she sowed.
It was time for the group to inspect prospective cross-border warehouse sites, so Carlo and I drove out to the seaside fishing village for an on-site survey. The village's daytime market was in full swing. Coastal lanes bustled with crowds, steeped in warm, down-to-earth hustle and bustle. Linked arm in arm, Carlo and I strolled along the streets, savoring precious quiet time as husband and wife.
My love, let's stay a little longer. Stop burying yourself in endless business, and spare some time for your poor husband.
I giggled and nodded in agreement. Hidden among the crowd stood Tony clad in rough homespun garments, watching me from afar. Years apart had done nothing to ease the bitter ache lingering in his heart. As we brushed past one another, his lips parted, ready to call out my name. Yet he forced every unspoken word back down his throat. He knew full well he had no right to step into my peaceful new life anymore. He remained rooted where he stood, staring after my retreating figure until I vanished around the end of the alley.
Do you want this matter dealt with?
Leave him be.
As winter set in, damp, frigid weather swept across Sicily, and the Frank fell gravely ill and took to his bed, his health fading by the day.
He sent messengers repeatedly to summon Carlo and me to his villa urgently. Upon receiving the news, I drove through the night and arrived well after dark.
Warm lamplight filled the sick room, with the old butler standing by to tend to his needs. Frank lay weakly on the sickbed. At the sight of me, he strained to lift a hand and produced a personally drafted power of attorney for his assets. Knowing his days were numbered, his only lingering worry was the remaining Gamboni clansmen left adrift after years of turmoil.
Claire, for my sake, would you look after what's left of the Gamboni family?
His voice was faint and breathy, earnest enough to make refusal difficult. After careful consideration, I consented.
Per his wishes, I set up a dedicated support fund to aid ordinary impoverished Gambino descendants and stamp out any resurgence of rogue criminal factions from within the remnants. During our quiet chat, Frank brought up Tony once more, heavy with helpless sorrow.
If only that boy Tony possessed half your wisdom and judgment.
I said nothing in reply. He heaved a long, weary sigh and dropped the subject. At last, Frank clasped my hand to offer his sincere gratitude, then closed his eyes peacefully for good. Severe blizzards lashed the coastal region in the depths of winter. Rough seas whipped up violently, and several small fishing boats from the village got stranded out at sea after a deadly storm while out fishing. Local Coast Guard rescue vessels were blocked by the brutal snow and could not reach the disaster zone in time. Desperate, the village mayor scrambled for help and eventually got in touch with the Morelli Group, which dominated coastal trade and owned a large fleet of deep-sea ships. I was sorting paperwork in my office when the distress call arrived. Learning the stricken village was where Tony lived in seclusion, I fell silent briefly. Before ordering the group's idle ocean-going vessels, dispatch all our idle ocean-going vessels immediately to rush to the rescue without delay. All trapped fishermen were pulled to safety after several hours. Tony survived the disaster.
And when the entire rescue fleet belongs to the Moretti Group.
The fleet belonged to Leia's enterprise. A swirl of conflicted emotions welled inside him. Even so, he never made the trip to Rome to express his thanks. Later, Carlo asked why I'd dispatched help. A faint note of jealousy in his voice.
You know Chos on this lovely.
I saved innocent villagers caught in harm's way, not him specifically. No old grudges can ever outweigh human lives. Carlo looks at her honest eyes, his jealousy and anger slowly devolving. The office returns to its quiet, dignified atmosphere. The following spring, the coastal public fishing hort funded under my lead was fully completed. On Inauguration Day, Carlo and I traveled to the fishing village for the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Locals turned out voluntarily to celebrate amid a warm, festive atmosphere. Thank you so much. This means a lot.
To the harbor, and to all of you.
Local, festive atmosphere. Standing on the brand new pier, gazing out over the boundless sea, I inadvertently recalled my old play of faking a drowning 2 years prior. 2 years had slipped by, consumed by vengeance once. I had long since made peace with my past and let go of every lingering grudge against Tony. Back at the group's Roma headquarters, I finalized the development blueprint for the Asian market, pooling premium corporate resources to set up a cross-border trade division, and flying abroad repeatedly to negotiate partnerships in various countries. Days were filled with back-to-back overseas business trips. I poured all my energy into my career and family.
my bond with Carlo growing deeper by the day, as our life unfolded happily and smoothly. During casual talks among senior management, Tony's latest whereabouts came up. He remained in the village, earning a living by fishing and odd jobs, his income much steadier thanks to new work brought by the newly built fishing port. A reclusive man, he never sought out any news about me. I merely nodded quietly, saying nothing further. With all love and hatred laid to rest, living separate peaceful lives was the perfect ending for us both.
One early summer afternoon, a villager travelled all the way from the fishing hamlet to the Moretti estate, bearing an old cloth parcel on Tony's behalf.
The man explained Tony had no wish to intrude in person and had only asked him to deliver the package before hurrying back to the village.
I untied the wrapping inside my study. Nestled within were the heirloom Gamboni gold coins I'd once left with Tony. Their inscribed names ground away, alongside a faded scrap of paper bearing just one line. May Claire know peace all her days.
Tucked in, too, was an old cassette tape holding Beethoven's For Elisa, the melody Tony had practiced tirelessly to play for me years ago. I placed the coins carefully into my display cabinet and kept the tape in the study as a memento. Holding the keepsakes, every twist of love and hatred from those 5 years drifted through my mind. Carlo stepped into the room and spotted the note and coins. He said nothing, only gave my hand a gentle, reassuring squeeze. It's nothing more than a souvenir. Rest assured, I shall never forgive him.
Years slipped away in the blink of an eye. The multinational business empire I had built stretched across Europe and Asia, and I spent most of each year traveling with Carlo to global business summits to forge new partnerships. The orphaned girl crushed by family massacre and marital betrayal had fully transformed into a revered queen of commerce.
Blessed with a loving husband and flourishing career, all old wounds had faded with time. My assistant would occasionally update me on Tony's life.
He lived alone in a tiny coastal cottage, tending to a small fishing ground by the sea, and never remarried.
Hearing these details stirred no emotion in me, as if I were listening to tales of a complete stranger.
No further updates about him from now on.
Carlo, who'd overheard outside the door, lifted the corners of his mouth and gazed at me tenderly. He headed out shortly and returned with a bouquet of fresh roses.
My darling, we shall stay side by side for the rest of our lives. The preliminary meeting for the new energy project was scheduled for Thursday. Linda and David arrived at my office half an hour early, their arms full of thick binders.
Adriano, we've been working on this project for 2 years.
Victor spread out the blueprints.
We're stuck at the final approval stage. We need Seaview's credentials to back it up.
I flipped through a few pages and quickly found the key issue. Your application materials have a flaw. What flaw? The technical specifications here don't match the patent certificates. Anyone reviewing this spotted immediately. That's our oversight, all right? take it back and redo it. Same time next week. Bring me the revised version. Victor gathered up the blueprints, looking at me with a newfound respect.
Oh, you're even more professional than I expected.
How do you think Seaview got to where it is today? After they left, I leaned back in my chair and rubbed my temples. All those years of experience working behind the scenes were finally being put to use on center stage. Friday night, Allison actually made it home on time for dinner. She sat across from me at the table, cutting her steak as she asked,
Is the whole Chad situation handled?
Done and done. He's out, the shop's got new management, and the customers are taken care of. She nodded, then asked again.
Doesn't it bother you, though? He's your cousin after all.
I put down my knife and fraff and thought about it seriously. It did, but he chose his path, and I couldn't stop him. All I could do was take back the shop so no one else could ruin it. Allison reached across the table and placed her hand over mine.
That's always been you. You don't hold back when you need to be ruthless. It's one of the reasons I chose you.
I turned my hand over and held hers. Come with me to Summit Peak on Saturday. I have a few new friends I'd like you to meet.
All right.
The moonlight outside was perfect. In this city's night sky, countlessly people were still scrambling to make a living. And I was already sitting at the very top. But I knew, the higher you sit, the less you can afford to let your guard down. Just like Chad. The moment you loosen your grip, the people below you will drag you down. A month passed in the blink of an eye. The service center had reopened under Linda's management, and revenue had nearly doubled from the Chad era. 18 of the scammed customers had returned, bringing 7 new clients with them. The data report Linda sent over had green numbers across every metric. I forwarded the report to Allison with a note. We made the right call. Allison replied. I smiled and put my phone aside. There was one more thing to do today. Ross drove me to a cemetery on the outskirts of town. That was where Aunt Sandy had been laid to rest 3 years ago. I placed a bouquet of flowers in front of her gravestone and stood there for a few minutes. Aunt Sandy, I couldn't help your son any more than I already did, I said softly. But I've always remembered the kindness you showed us. The wind blew, rustling the flowers on the grave. I turned and walked away without looking back. From that moment on, all old debts were finally settled. Two more weeks passed, and the new energy project was officially signed. Victor and David brought their teams to Seaview headquarters to ink the deal. My name was listed as the lead controller. After the signing ceremony, Victor raised his glass to me.
Adriano, we're counting on you to take us to the next level.
I raised my glass in return. Together, That night, I stood on the raft of the headquarters building looking down at the entire city. A sea of light spread out beneath me, like a galaxy of stars. I thought back to the day months ago when Beryl had humiliated me at the service center. No one could have imagined back then that the man they called broke was the owner of the city's most powerful business empire. But they didn't need to know. All I needed to do was keep moving forward. Footsteps sounded behind me. Allison. She came to my side and followed my gaze into the distant.
What are you thinking about?
About what comes next, I said. She leaned against my shoulder. The night was deep, and the city grew quiet.
Then take your time. I'll stay with you.
A new story had only just begun. The next morning, I received a call from Linda.
Boss, Bearville Merritt's first trial verdict is in. 12 years.
Adelman, here's the date to Friendalet.
I turned to the first page of the documents. A new journey had already begun. Noted. Circulate the outcome to all branches. Don't name names, but make sure they understand zero tolerance. CZAC has zero tolerance for any occupational crime.
Understood.
Sunlight poured in through the floor-to-ceiling windows, falling across the brand-new project blueprints on the table.
Victor and David were already waiting in the conference room. Today's agenda: the first phase implementation of the new energy project.
I walked over and pulled open the door. They looked up and nodded at me. I nodded back, then sat down and opened the materials in front of me. Outside the window, the city was waking up. That service center in Skyremore was probably beginning another day's work in the morning light. Only now, the owner had changed. And so had the rules. Sometimes I find myself thinking, if I hadn't given Chard that much power from the start, would things have turned out differently between us? But I've come to realize some people are only meant to walk with you for part of the journey. When it's time to part ways, there's no need for regrets, and no need to look back.